At Simple Flying, we bring you news and insight regarding airlines from all four corners of the globe daily. Updates regarding airlines that crisscross the world, carrying passengers and cargo alike. But have you ever stopped and wondered just what it takes to set up an airline successfully? This video is meant to launch a major series that'll aim to answer that specific question and many more. After all, starting an airline takes a great deal more than just getting a plane, covering it in a smart paint job, and declaring yourself open for business. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this journey of discovery with Simple Flying. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt loosely fastened, as we may well incur some turbulence along the way. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on board this insert aircraft type of insert airline name. We're delighted to have you on board today for our flight to insert destination. Do sit back and relax and enjoy your in-flight service, and we wish you a pleasant flight. Those who fly regularly will be all too familiar with this type of announcement or variation thereof. Similar announcements are made on thousands of passenger flights every single day. But who fills in the blanks? Who decides what aircraft type is flying and where it's headed? And how are such decisions made? Most importantly, how did the airline on which you heard this announcement even come into being? There are no simple, straightforward, or quick answers to any of these questions. The issue of how do you start an airline is a highly complex one. In this industry, there's no textbook to refer to. Nor is an airline going to tell you exactly how they came up with the answers to such questions for you to go and copy them. Yet history has repeatedly shown that regardless of the complexity of the challenge, there has been no shortage of individuals and companies ready to take on the challenge of launching an airline. In this series, over the coming weeks, we'll examine every step of the decision-making process taken by anyone wishing to start an airline. Similar to how pilots use checklists to ensure a safe flight is had by all on board, we'll run through the key issues point by point, building up an overview of the process. The series comes with a robust health warning, however. This will not be a one-size-fits-all guide to starting an airline, nor does it intend to be. When watching this series, you should remember that every scenario generates unique issues and complications. Geography, political, social, and economic factors all play their part. It would be impossible to make a genuinely accurate guide for every possible scenario in which an airline may set up. That said, there are aspects of the process that are generic, regardless of where you may be considering setting up an air carrier, and whether that even be carrying passengers, freight, or a combination of both. It's often said that for every airline that successfully navigates this process and takes to the skies, hundreds remain just an idea, fanciful concept, or even a collection of aviation-related words set out in some business plan saved on a computer hard drive. People have been flying in powered aircraft for about 120 years. Yet, in that time, airlines have evolved from transporting just a single passenger and a mail bag across a country to airports the size of large cities handling airliners the size of small villages. And each of those aircraft requires a whole army of staff tasked with getting it back in the air time and time again. The process that leads to these events, all with a degree of military-style coordination, is as impressive to the bystander as it is challenging, frustrating, and undoubtedly insomnia-inducing for those who design it. And yet there has never been a shortage of individuals or companies willing to give it a go. Even over the past 2 years, with a global health pandemic sweeping worldwide, new airlines have been born, with individuals and companies alike keen to have a try. Motives behind starting an airline can vary hugely, from deep-pocketed individuals wanting a vanity project to a community project to serve rural or isolated communities for humanitarian reasons, and from serving an international trunk route between two major world cities to operating multiple short-sector hops between tropical islands, they have all been tried at one point or another. However, history is littered with the carcasses of airline failures. Concepts that were once hopeful, exciting, and exuded dazzling ambition, yet stumbled and failed, some almost straight out of the blocks. Others, of course, go on to become both major international brands and household names, flying tens of millions of people all around the globe for business and pleasure every year. When passengers arrive at an airport for a flight, they're also arriving at the very end of a vast process that has ensured a suitable aircraft takes that passenger to their chosen destination. Yet, with just one link in that process chain missing, any aircraft provided for the job wouldn't even start its engines, let alone leave the ground. Yet, despite appearances, there is indeed a bloodline that runs through every new plan common to all. We'll hope to unlock the DNA within that bloodline, and by doing so, explain why each element of the process is vital. This will be regardless of what the particular concept of your own airline may look like kicking around your head. Although this series will analyze stage by stage such processes, they will require different decisions being taken both in isolation and in series to one another. While some links in the chain depend on a previous link being completed first, many won't. There is no straight line linking the start of the journey in setting up an airline to the end. This series will run through the basics of what any airline concept needs to go through to take it from the drawing board to getting airborne with revenue passengers and all freight. We'll tour through the most important waypoints of that journey to reach the destination with a clear and simplified explanation of what is involved. Flight operations, finance, marketing, commercial, in-flight product and service, and airport services are just some critical functions required for any airline to survive, yet there are many more. This series will look at the more obvious aspects of starting an airline and some less obvious ones that you might not have expected to see in such a list. However important or not they might initially seem, without them not a single passenger would ever be carried, nor a single kilogram of cargo ever flown. Over the forthcoming episodes, we'll set a course through the following subjects, providing immense detail for each step. First, we must deploy a business plan. Then we need to secure finances. Next is planning and infrastructure. Then aircraft selection and sourcing, certification, passenger experience, selection and procurement of essential support services, sales, marketing and promotion, staff recruitment, and launch events and inaugural flights. This series will examine why so many airlines fail, the most common pitfalls, and the events that could never be foreseen. Contrarily, it'll also consider the reasons certain airlines have managed to find the aviation equivalent of alchemy, transforming a mediocre idea into a hugely successful business. The series aims to open your eyes and mind. It'll make you think, give further consideration to the key issues, and will give you a better idea of what goes on to ensure that announcements like the one at the very start of this video will continue to be repeated on aircraft many times over for many years to come. To wrap up this mega introduction, we must be clear that we're not setting out on this journey so that by the end of it you'll feel fully equipped with the knowledge you need to give it a try for yourself. Even less so are we at Simple Flying expecting to be besieged by viewers inspired by the series to get in touch to tell us that they've just bought a 20-year-old Embraer regional jet on the internet and inquiring what to do next. However, this series will hopefully give you a better understanding of what is involved with setting up and launching an airline, the decisions, the planning, the hard work, and the excitement. We hope you'll join us next week to look at how to develop a business plan. If you had the startup financing to launch an airline, what type of airline would it be and where would it fly? Would it be a low-cost carrier or a full-service network airline? Share your fictitious airline plans by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.